one of you, and today in the chat trap we have a very renowned interior designer, Mr. Ashish Agarwal. Welcome to you, Ashish. How are you?
Thank you so much. I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well. It's a pleasure to have you to the chat trap.
Same here.
So my first question to you, Ashish, if not an interior designer, which profession would you choose for yourself?
Well, if I would not be an interior designer, I would definitely be someone who would touch senses and emotions of people. So I would love to be a fashion designer.
Wonderful.
And maybe a musician.
So you've been into a creative, I mean, are you connected with art? Like the options which you said, musician or fashion designer, are all like really creative fields.
So since my childhood, I was creative. I always have inclination towards everything which is related to art or creations. I identified that in pretty early age. The age of 7, I started creating models and everything. I realized that I have to touch people's life and people's emotions. So yes, I wanted to create things, so I chose for interior designing.
Ashish, I wanted to ask you, according to you, what is the most interesting thing about this profession?
All right, so basically, this profession attracted me because of the ability to create something on your own. You have the freedom, the liberty to think and imagine and create, and yet you can touch lives of others. So that was very mesmerizing for me. When I created small models, I created a battlefield when I was at the age of 8, and the way people reacted to it was very, very mesmerizing for me. And then onward, my journey started. It was all unknowingly.
So passion was there. It lied, in you, like since a small age.
Yeah, I think so. I was 8. What my mom says, that you have started having inclination towards all creativity.
Beautiful, wonderful. So what are the most important attributes according to you to be a successful interior designer?
One has to be very original, and very real from inside. When it comes to being an architect or an interior designer, you have to believe in yourself. You have to have a very strong belief in your ideas and imagination, and just go for it. That's very important for being a good architect or a designer.
Absolutely. I'm sure you bring your imagination to your work.
Yes.
So let's talk about your very talked about projects. I know you have a certain inclination towards retail. So would you like to tell us about that?
Well, retail is always my first love, you can say, or I would love to do always retail spaces, although we are having equal amount of work both in commercial aspect and residential. A commercial project I would like to mention, recently we have done a wine store in Guwahati, which is, I would like to tell a little more about that. The Northeast India has a high level of liquor consumption.
Absolutely.
But then the whole entire region of that India is having very small stores across the streets, and people of middle class and upper middle class, they don't go themselves and buy those wine because those experience of buying wine is not so great there. So my friend, he approached me once, and Ashish, I have an idea of having a very luxurious store, and let's change the experience of people of buying wine and other stuff, and let's educate people. So it was really interesting, and I thought, why not? Let's give it a try and figure out how we should go about. Then we went to coffee sessions and brainstormed, and we ended up taking a space of around 4,000 square feet. And we were also having some suggestions from our close friends, and he also spoke to a couple of his friends. Everybody was like, are you crazy? You're going to make 4,000 square feet of store, whereas rest of the store till date was not even 200 square feet of space.
Right.
So then we had this gut feeling that it was still going to work. Then this Whisky Company store, which has recently launched the month of, I think, April only, post-COVID. And now it is featured in one of the top magazine in Asia.
Wow.
And it's the 3rd largest store in India.
So there's a lot of liquors brand who started approaching you after that?
Not really. It is the Whisky Company is the name of a local brand, which is going to be now an international name. So probably they are coming up with more branches.
Wonderful.
So like that. So it's a very different experience, and the response is overwhelming, and people have started understanding. So they have a sommelier who is going to educate about the experience of wine, and how to take wine, what should be added with. So the entire ambience and the experience of buying liquor has been changed. We are also thinking of adding a couple of more feature to that store by making them taste the stuff and
Wonderful.
and
That's a
probably
new
everybody-
concept altogether.
Exactly. So it was very, very close to my heart, and we really enjoyed doing that project.
I can sense that. Ashish, tell us about your residential projects, Anything you would like to mention about yours, maybe current project or maybe your favorite project,
Yeah.
and why?
Right. So residences are again very close to my heart. We just don't design a project; we give a part of our soul to that project.
Absolutely.
So every bit of design we do for our client could be very different from one to another. We try and understand the personality and likings of our client and just try to put them together. And of course, we have our own way to, design every bit of it. Recently, we have completed one project. He's my friend as well. His name is Mr. Sumit Kabra, and we had built a villa of around 12,000 square feet.
Which place is it?
It's in Guwahati only, very much
Okay.
in the city. So it has 4 stories. It's a very small family, but they wanted to have a very flamboyant house, not in terms of show, but whatever they wanted to have them in
They want
right
to have
place.
a dream house and good
So
living.
it was a very amazing experience designing the whole house. 2 reasons. One was that they had one architect before who built the house and had also proposed for interior designing. So they always they have spent almost 5-6 months to evolve the whole design, and they came up. The whole family came to me with the entire design, which was done before by the architect, and I was supposed to give my take on that. So it was not me. So I was wondering, how would I want to change them? So it took me almost 2 months to detox them from the previous thought
sure.
process and everything which we have to put into and bring into a new line of design, which I thought would be very justified to them. And fortunately, I was lucky, and it all shaped well. And the outcome is like
All's
everybody's
well that
appreciating,
ends
and they
well,
also
yeah.
realize that what has been transformed is what they wanted actually.
Wonderful.
So sometimes when you get those compliments, your confidence are boosted.
Most satisfying thing,
Yeah.
and it pushes you to work harder in life.
True.
Actually, these kind of testimonies
Exactly.
and praises. The feedback from the client,
Yes.
positive feedback.
Yes.
So, I wanted to ask you this question, which is actually related to more of personal front. How do you cope up with stress? I'm sure there's a lot of stress in the job, and so how do you cope up
Yeah.
yourself?
Yeah, that's a very, very true thing which you have asked. Architecture and stress is always hand in hand. You can't stay away from stress. But yes, it depends upon individual how they handle it. When it comes to me, I usually try to talk to myself, and I talk to my wife and my loved ones. You just need to take it out from you
Absolutely,
inside,
with your
otherwise the
partner.
stress is going to build up. So basically, you chase yourself in design. That is, I think most of the interior designers or anyone in the creative field has this, because you raise your standard for yourself and you keep chasing. So stress is a part of it. Of course, you can do meditation also. You just need to take it out from your
So,
inside.
do you meditate?
Yeah,
Are you
I'm
spiritual?
trying to be more regular with it. I do less of it. But
That's
probably,
how you let go of stress,
Yeah, and talking to someone else and talking to yourself makes.
And
all
as
the
you
difference.
mentioned, talking to your partner really helps one. So now, Ashish, since it's the generation of social media, we all look up, on Instagram, Facebook, or maybe certain Pinterest for new
Yeah.
ideas,
Yes.
inspiration. So there's any account which you follow, or who's your inspiration? Okay, I wanted
All
to ask
right.
you when it comes to in the architecture field and designing field.
All right, so inspiration it's always keeps coming and going to you, but one guy who always inspired me, it might sound little odd, but he was Mr. A.R. Rahman. He's not from the
Wow.
architecture
He's
field.
not, yes, but he's an
not the
artist.
He's an artist. So one art can inspire another art. So I was
Absolutely.
always overwhelmed with the piece of music he used to create, and I was to identify. I used to try and understand how this man, used to create those pieces of music. So what thought process he must be going through, and how do they create those kind of music? So it always kind of encouraged me to think out of the box sometimes, and bring things together which no one can think of.
Wow.
And
yes.
I always believed in one thing, that the way A.R. Rahman's music, when he create, might not connect with people, and it grows on the listeners. So I always believed in that ideology. So I tried and put that approach into my design also. It really helped me. Until now, I think he's the guy who always inspires me.
Inspires you.
Yeah.
Anything, anyone who's into business who inspires you?
Yeah, this is the architects from Mumbai, ZZ Architects, Ms. Krupa and Zubin. I really love their work. I stalk them, as you asked.
Yeah, that's what I said.
follow
It's
them.
the
Yeah.
generation of social media. We all do it.
So the subtleness,
inspiration.
the luxury, the balance of each of them, and they are amazing in their work. I really appreciate and try and follow them as much as possible.
So Ashish, there's a lot of people, the young generation who are following up, and looking up to you. So what advice would you like to give to them?
All right, couple of them I would say. Don't stop learning. That is very important. This profession, you can never be sure that you have learned everything. And go with your instinct. It's very, very important.
Very important.
And take less of work. Don't run after too many projects. If you do less of your work and follow your instinct, just go for it. And name, fame, and money will follow you.
Wonderful.
So, I mean, you just enjoy your work. I think the rest will follow. That is very important to do in profession, because everybody's been chased and there's a lot of competition. In this rush, we forget the originality and your, the instinct you usually don't follow because of the pressure, even in the initial stage of your career. Right. So I think you follow your instinct is very important.
Follow your instinct and don't rush, and of course the patience. So, my last question, one line to sum up. If you had to, sum up Ashish Agarwal in just one line, what would be that?
I always believe this line said by the greatest scientist, Mr. Einstein, Albert Einstein, that the true power of intelligence is imagination, not the knowledge. So I firmly believe into this line.
Wow, that's amazing.
And also I believe there's always a dark side to everything. If there's no darkness, there is no value of light. So don't ignore the dark side of this thing.
Right.
Sometimes it always work on the positive side. So always take both things together and work.
There should be balance.
There should be balance.
So Ashish, before we wrap up, we have a really interesting thing, a rapid fire, which was, I know, not told to you, but then we wanted to keep it, and it's going to be very interesting and very crisp one.
Okay.
If you want, you can even answer in one word. If you would wish to elaborate, you are free to do so.
Okay.
So Ashish is a mountain person or a beach bum?
Beach.
Okay. Netflix or cinema?
Netflix.
What is that interesting thing you love doing it during the lockdown?
Oh, I try to explore myself, what kind of person I am.
During the lockdown?
I wanted to be very crystal clear about myself, because I have a nature of, switching from one idea to another, and it could be drastically opposite.
Wonderful.
So that one thing I tried to explore myself, that whether I like this kind of music or that kind of music. So it really helped me in that. Yes, and of course, a lot of family time and reconnections with industry people and family as well.
Right. So first thing you do when you get up in the morning, touch your phone, go to washroom, or to convey your gratitude to God?
Gratitude to God, phone and the toilet. That's the sequence, yeah.
So you prefer wearing formal or casual more?
All right, interesting question for me. I love the fusion.
Okay.
When I'm going for a casual scenario, I will try to take something which has a touch of formal, but yes, formals with a touch of casual.
Okay, so you're a social person or absolutely antisocial?
I'm not antisocial, but yes, I'm introvert. So I don't...
Takes time to probably open up with people.
I'm comfortable with my people mostly.
Which country would you like to visit next once the pandemic is over? UK, Australia, or you would like to stick to your native country and explore more of India?
I would love to visit US. That is on the cards maybe. And I kept India to be explored later after 10 years or sometime.
Beautiful. Amazing. Thank you so much for joining us in for this chat wrap. We thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you, Ashish.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
With this, we come to an end to this chat wrap. Before we wrap up, we have Director A-Class Marble, Mr. Rajesh Bhandari, joining us in. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us in. We hope that you loved this chat wrap. On behalf of the entire team, I, Mehak Dhawan, signing off.